Positivity is often misunderstood. Many people think being positive means feeling good all the time, smiling, staying optimistic, never complaining, never feeling low. But that version of positivity is exhausting. It requires constant effort, constant control, constant pretending. Quiet positivity is something very different. It is not about forcing happiness. It is about staying kind to yourself even when happiness is absent. In a world that constantly tells you to be better, to do more, to stay strong, quiet positivity offers relief. It says you don't need to fight your feelings to live a good life. You don't need to deny sadness to remain hopeful. You don't need to be motivated to be worthy. This kind of positivity does not shout. It does not announce itself. It does not try to convince anyone. It simply exists underneath your experience like a steady ground. Most people avoid positivity because they associate it with pressure. They hear phrases like stay positive, look on the bright side, everything happens for a reason, and instead of feeling supported, they feel dismissed. Because those words often arrive too early, before pain is acknowledged, before emotions are understood, quiet positivity waits. It listens first. It allows space for disappointment, for frustration, for grief. It does not rush you toward acceptance. It understands that forcing light into a dark moment does not heal. It blinds. Real positivity is patient. It knows that healing happens when emotions are allowed to complete themselves. This is why quiet positivity feels safe. It does not demand that you change how you feel. It simply asks that you stay present with what is here. Presence is on the beginning of positivity. When you are present, you stop fighting reality. And when you stop fighting reality, energy returns. This energy is not excitement, it is stability. Stability is far more valuable than constant happiness. Happiness comes and goes. Stability allows you to stand when happiness leaves. Quiet positivity is built on this stability. It is not a mood, it is an orientation toward yourself that says, I am allowed to feel this and still trust life. This trust does not mean everything will work out perfectly. It means you will be able to meet what comes without abandoning yourself. This is the core of healthy positivity, not believing that nothing bad will happen, but believing that you can handle what does happen. This belief does not come from affirmations. It comes from experience, from noticing that you have survived many difficult moments, moments you once thought would break you, and yet you are here. Quiet positivity honors this history. It does not erase your past struggles, it includes them. It says, these moments shaped you, but they do not define your limits. When positivity is loud, it often ignores reality. When positivity is quiet, it works with reality. This is why quiet positivity lasts longer. It does not collapse when things go wrong. It does not disappear when motivation fades. It remains as a gentle inner stance, a willingness to stay open, to not harden because of pain, to not close because of disappointment. This openness is not weakness. It is resilience without aggression. Many people think resilience means toughness, but toughness often comes from fear. Fear of feeling, fear of vulnerability, fear of being affected. Quiet positivity allows you to be affected without being destroyed. It allows emotions to pass through you instead of getting stuck. This flow prevents bitterness. Bitterness is what happens when pain is held without compassion. Quiet positivity adds compassion to pain. Not solutions, not explanations, just presence. And presence changes everything. When you allow yourself to feel without judgment, your nervous system calms. When your nervous system calms, clarity returns. You begin to see options instead of threats. You begin to respond instead of react. This is how positivity quietly improves your life, not by changing circumstances, but by changing how you meet them. Quiet positivity also changes your relationship with failure. Failure no longer means something is wrong with you. It becomes information, feedback, a moment that says, this path needs adjustment, not you are not enough. This shift protects your self-worth because your self-worth is no longer tied to outcomes. It is tied to effort, to honesty, to presence. This is a stable foundation. Outcomes fluctuate, presence does not. Quiet positivity is deeply realistic. It does not promise a perfect future. It promises a grounded present, and a grounded present is the only place where real change can happen. When you stop demanding that life be easy, you stop feeling betrayed when it isn't. Instead, you feel engaged. Engagement creates meaning. Meaning is far more sustaining than happiness. Happiness is a feeling. Meaning is a relationship with your life. Quiet positivity helps you build this relationship slowly, gently, without pressure. It invites you to treat yourself the way you would treat someone you to care about, with patience, with understanding, with room to be human. This approach removes the fear of bad days. You no longer panic when energy is low. You no longer judge yourself for not feeling inspired. You understand that low energy is not a failure. It is information. It tells you to rest, to simplify, to listen. Quiet positivity listens. It does not argue with your experience. It does not say, you shouldn't feel this way. It says, this is how you feel, and that is okay. From this acceptance, strength grows, not dramatic strength, but reliable strength. The kind that shows up on ordinary days, when nothing is exciting, when progress feels slow, when effort feels invisible. Quiet positivity stays with you in those moments. It does not abandon you when life feels average. It teaches you that an ordinary life can still be meaningful, that peace does not require intensity, that calm is not boredom, it is balance. In the next part, we will explore how to remain positive during low motivation, when you feel tired, uninspired, or emotionally drained, without forcing yourself, without pretending, without pressure. Low motivation is one of the moments where positivity is tested the most. Not when life is going well, not when energy is high, but when you wake up and feel heavy, uninspired, and disconnected from the things you once cared about. Many people panic when motivation disappears. They think something is wrong. They search for inspiration. They push themselves harder. They consume motivational content. But the more they push, the further motivation retreats. Quiet positivity offers a different response. It does not treat low motivation as an enemy. It treats it as a message. Low motivation is often a sign that something inside you needs attention, not correction. Attention. When you feel unmotivated, your body is not betraying you. It is communicating. It may be saying, you are tired, you are overwhelmed, you have been trying too hard, you need rest, you need meaning. Quiet positivity listens to this message instead of silencing it. Instead of asking, how do I get motivated again? You ask, what is my energy asking for right now? This single shift reduces pressure immediately because pressure is what drains motivation further. Motivation does not grow under threat. It grows under safety. Safety is created when you stop judging your current state. Many people criticize themselves for feeling low. They say, I should be more disciplined. I should be grateful. I shouldn't feel this way, but. Should is not supportive. It is aggressive. Quiet positivity removes should from your inner language. It replaces it with curiosity. Curiosity is gentle. Curiosity asks, what happened? What changed? What do I need? These questions open space. Space allows energy to return naturally. Low motivation often appears after long periods of pushing. Even if the pushing was toward good things, growth without rest creates exhaustion. Quiet positivity understands cycles. There are seasons of expansion and seasons of contraction. Low motivation often signals a contraction phase. This phase is not failure, it is integration. Your mind and body are processing what you have lived, what you have learned, what you have carried. If you interrupt this process with force, you delay recovery. If you allow it, clarity emerges. Quiet positivity does. Not demand that you feel inspired, it allows you to feel honest. Honesty is far more sustainable than enthusiasm. On low motivation days, quiet positivity simplifies life. Instead of asking, what should I accomplish? You ask, what can I gently support today? Support might look like rest. It might look like doing one small task. It might look like doing nothing without guilt. Guilt is a major energy leak. When you feel guilty for resting, rest does not restore you. It becomes another obligation. Quiet positivity removes guilt from recovery. It reminds you that rest is not a reward, it is a requirement. When motivation is low, your standards need to change, not permanently but temporarily. You stop expecting peak performance. You allow minimum viable effort. This does not mean you give up. It means you stay engaged without self-violence. One small action taken with kindness is more powerful than a big action taken with resentment. Quiet positivity values continuity over intensity. It understands that showing up gently keeps the connection alive, connection to your goals, to your values, to yourself. When you disconnect completely, restarting becomes harder. Gentle continuity prevents collapse. Low motivation also challenges your identity. You may start thinking, I am lazy, I am losing my drive, I am not who I used to be. These thoughts feel convincing, but they are interpretations, not facts. Quiet positivity separates who you are from what you are experiencing. You are not unmotivated. You are experiencing low motivation. This distinction protects your self-worth. States change identity does not need to. Quiet positivity also teaches you to decouple motivation from worthiness. You do not need to feel motivated to deserve rest. You do not need to feel inspired to deserve care. You do not need to be productive to deserve compassion. This is radical in a culture that links value to output, but it is essential for long-term well-being. When you stop demanding that motivation appear before you care for yourself, motivation often returns on its own because it feels welcomed instead of demanded. Low motivation can also be a sign of misalignment. You may be working toward goals that no longer fit. Quiet positivity allows you to question direction without panic. You ask, is this still meaningful to me? Am I doing this out of habit or fear? These questions are not dangerous. They are clarifying. Clarity may lead to change. Change may feel uncomfortable, but staying misaligned costs more energy than adjusting course. Quiet positivity supports honest reevaluation. Without drama, without self-blame, it understands that growth includes letting go. Not all motivation is meant to return. Some motivations have completed their purpose. Releasing them creates space for new ones. This space may feel empty at first, but emptiness is not a problem. It is a pause. A pause where something new can form. Quiet positivity does not rush to fill this space. It trusts the process. It trusts that clarity emerges when pressure is removed. When motivation eventually returns, it feels different. Calmer, more grounded, less frantic. It is not driven by fear of falling behind. It is driven by genuine interest. This motivation lasts longer because it is aligned with who you are now, not who you used to be. Quiet positivity teaches you to meet low motivation with respect, to listen instead of override, to rest instead of resist, to simplify instead of push. This approach prevents burnout. It protects your relationship with effort. Effort becomes something you choose, not something you are forced into. In the next part, we will explore how quiet positivity helps you navigate comparison and self-doubt, especially in a world where everyone seems to be doing more and moving faster. Comparison often enters quietly, not as jealousy, but as self-doubt. You scroll, you listen, you observe other lives, and slowly a question forms. Why am I not there yet? Quiet positivity does not pretend that comparison does not exist. It understands that comparison is a natural response in a connected world. What matters is not whether you compare, but how you respond when you do. Most people use comparison as a weapon against themselves. They take a small piece of someone else's life and use it to judge their entire existence. This is not honesty, it is distortion. Quiet positivity helps you see this clearly. Comparison rarely compares reality to reality. It compares your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight, your uncertainty to their confidence, your beginning to their middle. This comparison is unfair and incomplete, but the mind does it automatically. Quiet positivity does not shame you for this reflex. It invites awareness. Awareness creates choice. When you notice comparison arising, you pause. You don't follow it immediately. You ask, what am I really feeling right now? Often comparison is not about others. It is about longing, longing for security, longing for recognition, longing for clarity, longing for rest. Quiet positivity redirects your attention from judgment to need. Needs are honest, judgments are protective. When you identify the need, comparison loses its grip. You stop asking, why not me? And start asking, what do I need more of? This shift is powerful. It transforms comparison into information. Information you can work with. Quiet positivity also changes how you relate to others' success. Instead of seeing success as a threat, you begin to see it as evidence. Evidence that growth is possible, that change happens, that paths unfold in many different ways. This does not happen overnight, especially if you have spent years measuring your worth against others. Quiet positivity is patient with this unlearning. It understands that envy often hides admiration, and admiration can guide you without hurting you. You can say, I admire this, without saying, I am less. You can want something without attacking yourself for not having it yet. This distinction protects your self-esteem. Self-esteem does not require that you be the best. It requires that you be honest and respectful toward yourself. Quiet positivity is deeply tied to self-respect. Self-respect means you do not abandon yourself in moments of doubt. You do not pile on when you are already struggling. You do not demand certainty before allowing compassion. When comparison triggers self-doubt, Quiet positivity responds with grounding. You return to what is real: your breath, your body, your immediate environment. You remind yourself that this moment is not lacking. It may be challenging, but it is complete. From this grounded place, self-doubt softens. Self-doubt thrives in abstraction, in imagined futures, and imagined judgment's presence removes its fuel. Quiet positivity also helps you redefine what being behind means. Behind whom? According to which timeline? Most timelines are social constructs, not personal truths. You are not late to your own life. You are exactly where your experiences have brought you. This does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop shaming yourself for growing at your pace. Quiet positivity supports progress without humiliation. It encourages movement without pressure. This balance is rare but essential. Comparison often intensifies during periods of uncertainty. When you don't know what your next step is, others' clarity feels threatening. Quiet positivity normalizes uncertainty. It reminds you that clarity is often temporary, that many people who seem certain are improvising. You are not failing because you are unsure. You are human. Quiet positivity also teaches you to curate your environment, not to avoid others' success, but to protect your inner state. You become selective with what you consume. You notice which content leaves you inspired and which content leaves you depleted. This is not avoidance. It is discernment. You are allowed to step back from comparison triggers, not because you are weak, but because you are wise. Wisdom knows when to conserve energy. Quiet positivity also helps you reconnect with your own markers of growth. Not external milestones, but internal shifts. You notice how you respond differently now, how you recover faster, how you speak to yourself with more kindness. These changes may not be visible, but they are profound. They are signs of real progress. Progress that cannot be compared because it is internal. Quiet positivity values this invisible growth. It understands that inner stability creates outer results in its own time. When you trust this urgency, fades. You stop rushing to prove yourself. You stop competing with imaginary standards. You begin to move with quiet confidence. Confidence that does not announce itself. Confidence that does not need comparison. This confidence comes from alignment, from knowing you are acting in accordance with your values. Even when outcomes are uncertain, quiet positivity anchors you here. It speaks. You are allowed to grow without hating where you are. You are allowed to want more without rejecting what exists. This balance is the heart of healthy ambition. Ambition without self-violence. Aspiration without shame. In the next part, we will explore what a quiet positivity transforms your relationship with yourself, how you speak inwardly, how you rebuild trust and self-support that lasts. There is a moment that comes quietly in many people's lives. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It does not arrive with tears or celebration. It is simply the moment when you realize that you have been trying very hard for a very long time to be someone who is easier for others to accept. You may not notice it at first. It often comes as tiredness, a deep tiredness, not of the body, but of the soul. You wake up and the motivation feels thin. You answer messages, but your heart is not fully there. You keep showing up, but something inside feels distant. This is not failure. This is not weakness. This is often the beginning of a more honest life. Because quiet positivity does not ask you to perform happiness. It does not ask you to be bright all the time. It does not demand smiles as proof of worth. Quiet positivity begins when you stop fighting yourself. For many people, the hardest thing to accept is not the world. It is who they are when no one is watching. We grow up learning how to adjust, how to soften our opinions, how to hide our doubts, how to say, "I'm fine," even when we are not. And over time, this creates a strange distance, a distance between who we are and who we present to the world. Quiet positivity does not try to close that distance overnight. It simply invites you to notice it, to sit with it, to acknowledge it. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to be uncertain. You are allowed to change your mind about who you thought you were supposed to be. There is a deep calm that comes from no longer forcing yourself into shapes that do not fit. At first, this calm can feel uncomfortable because chaos was familiar, overthinking was familiar, self-criticism was familiar. Peace feels strange when you are not used to it. Quiet positivity understands this. It does not rush you. It does not tell you to just think positive. Instead, it asks softer questions. What feels heavy right now? What feels forced? What are you holding on to out of habit rather than truth? Many people believe that positivity means confidence, certainty, a clear direction. But often, true positivity begins in humility, in admitting, "I don't know yet. I'm still learning. I'm allowed to move slowly." There is strength in moving slowly. There is wisdom in pacing yourself. There is courage in resting before you break. Quiet positivity is not loud encouragement. It is gentle permission. Permission to stop proving. Permission to stop explaining. Permission to stop apologizing for existing as you are. Yet you do not need to justify your pace. You do not need to compete with timelines that were never designed for you. Every life has its own rhythm. Every season has its own lesson. Some seasons are for building. Some are for healing. Some are for letting go. Quiet positivity honors all of them. It understands that growth does not always look like progress. Sometimes growth looks like boundaries, like saying no, like walking away quietly without needing closure. Sometimes growth is choosing peace over being understood. This can be hard because we want to be seen, we want to be validated, we want others to recognize our effort. But quiet positivity teaches something subtle. Not everyone needs to understand your journey for it to be valid. Not every decision needs applause. Not every choice needs an audience. If your life is allowed to be private, your healing does not need to be explained. Your happiness does not need permission. When you begin to live this way, you may notice something unexpected. Your energy changes. You stop reacting as quickly. You stop absorbing everything around you. You stop feeling responsible for other people's emotions. This is not coldness. This is clarity. You learn the difference between compassion and self-sacrifice. You learn that being kind does not mean abandoning yourself. Quiet positivity is deeply rooted in self-respect. It is knowing where you end and others begin. It is understanding that you can care without carrying everything. This kind of positivity does not shine outward first. It settles inward. It softens your inner dialogue. It changes how you speak to yourself when things go wrong. Instead of saying, "What is wrong with me?" you begin to say, "This is hard, and I'm allowed to find it hard." Instead of saying, "I should be better by now," you begin to say, "I'm learning, and learning takes time. These small shifts are not small at all. They reshape your inner world. And when your inner world changes, your outer world responds naturally. You become more grounded, more present, more honest, not louder, not more impressive, just real. Quiet positivity does not chase constant happiness. It aims for stability, for emotional honesty, for resilience. It understands that joy comes and goes, but peace can stay. Peace is built when you stop arguing with reality, when you accept what is within your control and gently release what is not. You cannot control how others see you. You cannot control how quickly things change. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control how you speak to yourself, how you care for your energy, how you choose to respond. Quiet positivity lives here, in response, not reaction, in intention, not impulse. It encourages you to pause before you judge yourself harshly, to breathe before you assume the worst, to listen before you decide what something means. Life becomes lighter when you stop narrating it with fear. This does not mean bad days disappear. It means bad days no longer define you. It means disappointment does not turn into self-blame. It means mistakes become information, not identity. Quiet positivity is patient. It does not demand instant transformation. It trusts slow consistency. One kind thought at a time. One honest boundary at a time. One quiet choice at a time. And over time, you may notice something else. You feel more at home within yourself. You stop searching so desperately for external reassurance. You stop asking the world to tell you who you are. You begin to know. This knowing is calm. It does not argue. It does not defend. It simply exists. You are enough even on days you do nothing remarkable. You are worthy even when you are unsure. You are allowed to take up space quietly. Quiet positivity does not push you forward. It walks beside you. And sometimes, that is exactly what we need. At some point, you may notice that life feels quieter inside. Not empty, not dull, just quieter. The noise that once filled your mind begins to fade. The constant need to compare, the pressure to explain yourself, the urge to rush into the next thing. They soften. This is not because everything is perfect. It is because you no longer fight everything that is imperfect. Quiet positivity matures here. It becomes less about ideas and more about how you live. You wake up, and you are not immediately at war with the day ahead. You still have responsibilities. You still have worries. You still have moments of doubt. But they do not define the tone of your inner voice anymore. There is a gentleness in how you move through your day. You speak with more care. You listen with more patience. You pause more often. Not because you are trying to be mindful, but because your nervous system finally feels safe enough to slow down. Quiet positivity does not create excitement. It creates steadiness. And steadiness is often mistaken for boredom in a world that glorifies intensity. But there is profound strength in a steady heart. A steady heart does not panic at uncertainty. It does not collapse under pressure. It does not need constant reassurance. It knows how to wait. Waiting is the underrated skill. We live in a culture that teaches us to rush answers, to rush healing, to rush success. Quiet positivity teaches you to trust timing. Not everything needs to be decided now. Not every feeling needs to be resolved today. Not every chapter needs to make sense immediately. Some things unfold only when you give them space, and giving space is an act of self-respect. As you live this way, you may notice that your priorities shift. You stop chasing things that look good on the outside but feel empty on the inside. You begin to value peace over validation, depth over attention, meaning over momentum. This does not mean you stop dreaming. It means your dreams become quieter and more personal. They no longer need to impress anyone. They simply need to feel true. Quiet positivity does not remove ambition. It refines it. It asks, why do you want this? Who does this serve? Does this bring you closer to yourself or further away? These questions do not judge. They clarify. And clarity is a form of freedom. With clarity, you stop overcommitting. You stop saying yes when your body says no. You stop betraying yourself for the comfort of others. This does not make you selfish. It makes you sustainable. A person who honors their limits can show up longer, with more presence, with more sincerity. Quiet positivity understands that burnout is not a badge of honor. Rest is not weakness. Rest is maintenance. It is how you preserve what matters. There is a deep maturity in knowing when to stop, to step back, to be still. Stillness is not absence, it is awareness. In stillness, you hear your intuition more clearly, not as loud instructions, but as subtle signals, a sense of ease, a tightening in the chest, a quiet pull forward, a gentle resistance. Quiet positivity trains you to trust these signals, to listen before you leap, to choose alignment over urgency. As this trust grows, you begin to feel anchored. Life may still move fast around you. People may still rush, react, demand. But inside, you remain centered. This center is not rigid. It is flexible. It bends without breaking. It adapts without losing itself. This is resilience, not toughness, not emotional armor, but the ability to stay open without being overwhelmed. Quiet positivity makes room for both joy and sorrow. It does not reject sadness. It does not dramatize happiness. It allows emotions to come and go without attaching identity to them. You are not your bad day. You are not your good mood. You are not your productivity. You are the space that holds all of it. This understanding changes how you relate to yourself. You become kinder in moments of struggle. You become humbler in moments of success. You stop defining your worth by temporary states, and this is where true confidence is born. Not the loud kind, not the performative kind, but the quiet confidence that does not need to prove. The kind that says, I know who I am, and I'm still learning. Quiet positivity allows growth without pressure. It allows change without self-rejection. You are not improving because you are broken. You are evolving because you are alive. This perspective is deeply healing. It removes shame from the process of becoming. As you continue forward, you may notice that your relationships change. You tolerate less chaos. You crave more authenticity. You are drawn to conversations that feel grounded. You step away from dynamics that drain you, not with anger, not with blame, but with clarity. You understand that peace is fragile when constantly negotiated. You choose environments that support your nervous system. This is not avoidance. This is discernment. Quiet positivity sharpens discernment. It teaches you where to invest your energy and where to conserve it. Energy is life. How you spend it shapes your days. Quiet positivity helps you spend it wisely. In the end, this way of living does not change the world dramatically. It changes your relationship with the world, and that changes everything. You move through life with less resistance. You meet challenges with curiosity instead of fear. You face uncertainty with grounded presence. Quiet positivity does not promise ease. It promises honesty. It does not remove pain. It removes unnecessary suffering. It does not guarantee happiness. It offers peace. And peace is often what we were looking for all along. You do not need to become someone else to deserve it. You only need to return to yourself. Slowly, gently, honestly, and let that